Hi everybody, how are you? My name is Donna Ogozalek and I am an educator with East Coast Salon Services. So today I am going to be bringing to you a really fun asymmetrical pixie haircut. It has an undercut, it's very playful and very quick and easy to do. I am so excited to bring this to you. I've done this in one of my workshops this past year. And I've had so many good results with stylists who've attended my workshops that they've sent me actual emails with pictures of their end results. They were so proud and they were so excited with the cut, and their clients loved it too. So stay tuned, because when we're done the cut, we're actually going to make a transition. We're going to pre-lighten the head, lighten it so that we can take it to a silver blonde. I have a gorgeous silver gray through my company Corral. It is gorgeous. It's a 10-1-1 double ash, and I'm going to be doing a 620 at the root mixed with that 10-1-1 so that we can have a muted violet root. So I hope you enjoy, and let me know your thoughts, and be sure to follow me on Instagram. It's DONNA CRIQUI Beauty and Wellbeing. So we can keep in touch, and I'll let you know of more education that we have coming. I hope you're all well, and talk to you soon. Bye. We begin our cut by making a parting at the recision area. It's going to sit slightly below the parietal ridge where the head gets flatter. We're going to create an arc around to the occipital bone, sitting slightly above, taking an arc to the other side. You can see in the back corner, I actually began a clipper cut. I wanted to see what length I liked. I began with a level 7, and I thought it was a little bit too long, so I went back in with a level 6. And when I do this on my clients, if I say they never had an undercut before, and it could be a little bit traumatizing if they've never gone down to a level 2, I'll do this. I'll start with a longer length and make my way shorter, and sometimes they'll say, no, let's go for it. Let's take it shorter. So I finished my clippers around the left-hand side of the head, and I'm just cleaning up around the ears, making it look neat and clean for the rest of my cut. So I saved you from having to watch me do an entire clipper on the other side. So we're gonna move on to our next section. Okay, everybody, to begin our next section, we go from the top of the head and down to about 1/2 inch behind the ear on both sides of the head. Combing the hair neatly to prepare the hair, and I have the sections that we will not be working with neatly clipped away. I'm taking a diagonal back section to the left, and I'm checking my angle with my comb to make sure that that looks pleasing to my eye. And I'm taking my very first section, holding my fingertips exactly at the same angle as my parting. I'm going to continue down that section, maintaining the same finger angle, working my way till I run out of hair. You can already see it has a really pretty slope, and it's going to continue to get a little bit deeper as it wraps around the head. So we take our next section, about 1/2 inch or so. I want to make sure my partings are thin enough that I can actually see my guide through my fingers. If it is too thick of a guide, just make sure you go back in and make a thinner guide. You want to be able to set yourself up for success by easily seeing where you had previously successfully cut the section. So I'm working my way around the head, taking another 1/2 inch section, clipping all the hair neatly out of the way. Okay, so typically we like to stand right in front of the section that you're cutting, but I am slightly off right now so that the camera can actually see what I'm doing. So you can see I'm mirroring the section with the angle of my fingers. I have a slight elevation, and again, combing everything into our stationary guide. Actually, there are, I believe, 3 stationary guides in this haircut. It makes it really simple and easy to do. And then we go back in later and we cut the interior to lighten the shape. But this sets up the geometry of the haircut. It's so pretty and easy to do. So you can see this is really a fun cut to do. When I'm working in the salon, I can actually get this haircut done in about 15 minutes. Okay, we're almost there, guys. Another 1/2 inch section. Pinning the hair out of the way. Taking the same angle. Making sure I'm maintaining my finger angle back at the stationary guide. Over directing into the previous section of our stationary guide. And releasing the hair, you can see it is a gorgeous shape already. This is our last section. And you can see it's so easy to see the guide. And how many times I comb through as well. We want to make sure our sections are nice and neat and clean. So as I release the hair, take note of the movement and the shape already. You can leave this as is, everybody. You have a build of nice weight around the right side of the head. And then look at all the movement on the left. It's pretty as is, isn't it? But we're gonna go back in throughout the cut and try and release some more weight as we go. Okay, so now you can see I combed the previous section that was just cut away, except for a little piece that I left out as a guide for our next section. You can see I also combed a diagonal forward, a little bit from the round of the crown down to the precision. So what we're doing is over directing all the hair, kind of like we did on the other side of the head. But now what we're doing is we're pulling all that hair to behind the ear slightly with my fingers pointed actually diagonal forward, mirroring the section of what I clipped away above. So you're going to be able to see it's going to create a really pretty arc or U shape from the last section. So we're going to continue that same diagonal forward section, making sure that we comb all that hair over directing behind the ear and doing exactly what we did in the back, but now we're just changing our finger angle. In the back, back of the head, we did a diagonal back at about a 45 degree. So now we're moving to the front, doing the front section with a diagonal forward, moving all the hair to behind the ear. So I jumped ahead a few sections, just kind of cutting to the chase here. About a 1/2 inch section, just like we did in the back of the head. We're taking it thin enough sections that we can easily see our guide. Again, doing a stationary guide, diagonal forward sections, pulling all that hair to behind the ear until we run out of hair. You can see the gorgeous slope that drops forward. So I'm releasing the weight and redistributing the hair. And honestly, we could leave the hair just like this, couldn't we? It is so pretty. And just fine tune it if you wanted to. So check out the slope. This is where you can kind of just imagine. I'm just showing you a few options here. If you wanted to taper that in a little more and leave it longer in the front. Do you want to cut some of that off and angle it around the face? If you want to accent the undercut and just have some fun with blow drying the hair, exposing that undercut. So just playing with the movement that's already there. But we're going to continue and I'm going to cut more, but you would be perfectly fine with stopping if you were happy there. So I'm just releasing a little bit more weight. This is really easy. I'm just taking horizontal partings. Again, a stationary guide. This is our third guide, right? The first one was diagonal back in the front, in the back of the head. Then we went to a diagonal forward, pulling all the hair behind the ear. Now, from the same area where we took that diagonal forward, we're actually just doing horizontal partings. I'm showing you there is actually hair to remove there. And I don't want to cut off the points around the face. But we're just dragging this all so that it is parallel with the floor. I'm holding it out from the head parallel to the floor and just removing any weight that's there on the interior. So this is our shorter section that we're combing over to. See on the left-hand side there, it's shorter. And then when the hair gets released, there's a much longer weight. But see the lift that we got through the top of the head by just taking this section. All right, so now this is where we're starting to get into the fine tuning of the cut. And this is all such a personal choice. How steep is the slope? This is where we want to communicate with our clients. Where would we like to see this? When in doubt, take off a little at a time. So I am taking this slightly below the chin to start and see how I feel about it. So what I'm doing is pointing the tip of my fingers towards the front angle just to see. See, I'm eliminating the hair in a straight line until I get to that point. So I take a look, I lift and redistribute the hair, see what I think about that. And I decided that I wanted to take it just a little bit shorter. So I'm actually going to go in the opposite direction. And I'm going to try it trimming from the front and working my way up. Totally eyeballing where I feel good about the length of the cut. And working it into the angle without disrupting the angle. So I like it at the jawline. And that alone is releasing a little bit more weight. So I'm going to keep continuing to work. So with taking all the hair from the other side of the head, I want to release some of the weight at the corner. You can see that the hair is a little bit heavier at the outer corner. So I'm just releasing a little bit of weight so I have a little bit more movement. Because the other side, we had a little bit more of the angle there to release that weight. So I'm just creating a little bit of contour so it rounds in really pretty at the bottom of the head there. Okay. So now I'm actually taking a diagonal section, kind of how we did a diagonal forward on the other side. I'm coming across and I'm having actually a stationary area, pulling it up from the crown, and I'm bringing through and point cutting into the hair to release some weight. This is going to help create a little bit more movement at the top of the head, a little bit of lightness, and it's also maintaining the length by bringing everything to the back of the head. So just checking to make sure that I like the lift, the distribution of the hair. And I'm not going to take it too short right now with over texturizing because we're going to be doing the color afterwards. Have you guys ever tried to do hair that's been over texturized? Trying to get some foils into the hair, or these really steep angles, we have to work in smaller sections. So what I'm doing is over directing to the other side to remove a little bit of the length around the fringe, just so it has a really pretty angle around the face. Okay, so now I'm taking a look at the hair, and so everybody, you can make this as texturized and open, kind of funky looking if you wanted. You can make it almost look like there's teeth out, you know, if you want to go through and point cut at a steep angle or go in with your feather razor. I, however, am just going a little bit on the conservative side, and I'm just going to ever so slightly go around the edges and point cut into that hair, working with the hair, not against it. Gently point cutting just a little bit, just to kind of soften those edges. You can see that little bit that I did took a little bit of the round out of that and just creates a real pretty softening. Again, if you want to do something a little bit more drastic, you can certainly make it a little bit more airy looking towards the bottom and have fun and cut into it at a steeper angle, or use thinning shears or texturizing shears. There's so many unlimited ideas that you can approach this haircut with. Okay, so now I am flicking the hair throughout the ends, I'd say about an inch in, removing some bulk to create a little bit of texture and lift. This does a little bit more than point cutting. I keep checking as I go along to see how I like the lift. I like to have a lot of lift back through the crown, maybe not so much. I don't want to over texturize towards the front of the face. Continuing to do a little bit of flicking. And I keep taking clean sections just so that I don't keep texturizing into the same section. So as you're texturizing, just keep redistributing the weight of the hair and checking. See, I'm combing through and I can just kind of feel that's still a little bit heavy on the top. I want some movement and I want a little bit of heaviness, but I want it to look sexy and I want it to have some really pretty movement and have some fluidity. Hey y'all, so what'd you think of the haircut? I hope you had a lot of fun learning about the asymmetrical pixie and how easy it was to do, and it gives you such a dramatic, fun look. So if you have a client who wants to take it to the next level and wants to do some fun hair color, here's some ideas. So before you begin, get an idea of where it is the hair that is presently on the head, where it lies, whether it's a natural color or whether it's artificial pigment. To get an idea of where you are and where you need to go is really good. So what I'm doing is I actually put in, this is a Baco hair color by Corral. And so this swatch is 8.0. So that means it's a level 8 natural. So I know that the base of where I'm coming from is a level 8. So my goal is a silver blonde. It's a level 10. It's a 10.11, which means it's a level 10 double ash. So this silver blonde is so pretty, but it must go on lightened hair or you won't have the gorgeous silver effect. So what I plan to do that's really fun, that's going to take this to another level, that in and of itself is gorgeous, but why not take it another level? So what I want to do is come down to the roots, and I'm going to add a little bit of violet to a level 8 silver blonde. So this in and of itself is going to take it a little bit deeper than the 10, but adding this the violet at a level 6 is going to make this, it's a very strong pigment, and what's going to happen, it's just going to add a little bit of violet to this level 8 silver, so it'll make it more like a dusty violet, which is going to be really pretty. And by using a little bit of a 6, it's going to take this color into a level 7. So I'm going to get started on my technique. I'm going to put every single hair on the head into a foil. And what that's going to do is give me extra heat conduction by using the foils. And I'm also going to take very, very thin slices because that's going to ensure even saturation and maximum lift. So I'm going to get started. Thanks, guys. Okay, everybody, this is our finished end result. And what I'm going to be doing is showing you exactly how I got there after the haircut. So applying the lightener from the perimeter of our haircut and working to the top of the crown in small sections because there's such a variety of lengths throughout the back that it just makes it a little bit easier. And using 1/8 to 1/4 inch sections and making sure the hair is saturated all the way through the section ensures us even and quick lifting. I allowed a little bit of a root and I feathered that lightener up through the ends, you can see, which gave us a really pretty natural shadow root by having it uneven down towards the root area. So now I am applying to the root area in a smaller section. It's violet mixed with a silver blonde. So it's a level 620, a level 6 violet with a level 811, which is a silver blonde at a level 8. So applying to the root area first and going back through with the silver and marrying it through with my fingers down towards the bottom of the section underneath of our first section where we did our haircut. I applied a little bit more purple, so that's going to give it a little bit of a pop. Okay, just going back through, making sure that I like the distribution from the violet into the silver, because sometimes throughout the head, I will just merge the hair with my fingers, and other times I go back through and actually comb it down into the section. The difference when you comb it down into the section, especially with using such strong colors at the root, you can actually carry that root area into the midsection. So you can see here that I have a tendency to start underneath and I save the top of the head for last. And the reason being is if we start the shadow root on the top and move it back and forth quite often, we may end up with the hair not where we're seeing it with our eye, where we would like it to be. So it gives me a little bit more control working in smaller sections. So I'm just tapping it onto the base a little bit less. I saturated it a little bit further down from the root to about midway with the back of the head. And as I get to the sides, a little less, but you're going to see on this heavy side, I actually am kind of bringing a little bit of that purple down into mixing it with the silver, which gives it a really pretty muted lilac. It gives it a very metallic look, but yet at the root, it's a lot stronger. So you see the nice transition. Around the face, I'm actually going to be making it a little bit more silver. And what I did right there is if I'm having hair overlay an area where I see some color, I like to lay my foil just to keep the sections neat and clean. When you're doing artistic color, it is kind of fun. If something happens, well, maybe it was meant to be there, but I like to make it my choice, but I don't get too bent out of shape if it's something that it's fun. but then you just have to make sure that you incorporate it to where you want. But you can see towards the front, it's definitely more silver, more of a gray look, and you can see as it oxidizes how it's starting to play out. So if you want to mute it a little more, you can just add in a little more silver. So take notice the back of the head where there is much more violet towards the outside perimeter and underneath. So it's going to give it a little bit more of a bold pop. So I'm just going to continue tapping the violet down towards the root. This is our last area with the shadow root, and then making it artistic and either bringing that, marrying it through with your fingers or combing it through, which is going to give it a little bit of a drag and marry into the next section. The choice is yours. This is the thing I love about artistic color. And this is neat because it's not a direct dye. This is actually a permanent hair color. So once again, I did 1/4 of my formula with a level 6 violet and 3/4 with a level 8 double ash, which is our darker silver blonde. And then my end shade is a level 10 silver blonde. So it's 10.11. So here is our end result. A little bit more violet pop in the back and underneath. And then with a variety of technique, whether it's marrying it through with my fingers a little bit more towards the root or combing it through, and also going through with a clean brush and actually dragging that violet down into the section is how I get the variety of shades. But I left it more silver towards the face and definitely stronger violet towards the root. So just going in and fine tuning with a little bit more texturizing. I find that I just wanted to lighten it around the top a smidge more and then contour and remove a little bit of bulk down around the face. I just used the Coral Express dry shampoo to add some texture, and you can see that it was really easy to add some volume and texture to the hair that's making it really easy for me to mold the hair into place. And then adding in the crystal water wax, which allows me also to make the hair very touchable, moldable, and full of shine. I hope you had fun, guys, and you enjoy. Let me know how you make out.